Hey, I was reading this article about I guess the Pew Institute, which is a think tank, did another broad survey and released the paper where the public's trust in government, media, and each other is at an all-time low. Really, really bad. And the article goes through some of their reasoning as to why, like talking to sociologists and things about like why they feel like people have gotten to this point where they don't trust media, government, and each other. And it's all really good information, but not so surprising, and something that I think that I myself have been feeling as well. I don't think that this trust is unearned, right? Government has done a lot of bad things in my memory, the period that I've been around. There's a lot that I can point to that says that was a mistake, and sometimes I think those mistakes are very intentional mistakes. So there's a lot of reasons to mistrust the government, mistrust the media as well. I don't think that was. I think that was probably the hardest thing for me to do. I used to be a huge media buff, where I would watch on Sundays. I'd watch Meet the Press, Face the Nation, and there was a third one too. Back when Tim Russert was on Meet the Press, and I would be way into it, and then over time I kind of realized, wow, they're really kind of only giving me what's called a limited hangout, where they give you partial truth, and so you feel like everything they're saying is true, but really the bigger, more important pieces they were leaving out, lies of omission, that kind of thing. But mistrust of the media is at an all-time high, which, once again, you've got a president who keeps on saying fake news. When they actually tried to pin that on him, I think it's kind of funny. He reversed that. They were saying all the time that he was lying, and he just said, no, you're the ones who are lying. And at this point, I feel like the pendulum has swung, so people are pointing fake news back at the media. And again, I don't think that's unearned. I think they do falsify or mislead through intentional omissions, those kinds of things. But I think the more troubling one is the one of mistrusting each other. That's the one that, in my mind, it's probably the most damaging one, but also the one that can be fixed easiest, I believe. Cleaning up institutions and cleaning up government, those are bureaucracies, and they're going to be hard to do. They're entrenched. People, on the other hand, I feel are more malleable, and they can be reached with reason. I think that with enough, they can be outraged to a very large event. Take 9/11 as an example, right? All of a sudden, everyone forgot any kind of differences we had. And I remember the day after 9/11, my truck broke down in the middle of the road, and some dudes who I didn't even know, complete strangers, helped push it into a parking lot and across the parking lot into a garage to get it looked at. And I didn't know these guys from Adam, and they were just super. Everyone was kind of bonded together. If you were an adult back in those days, you probably remember how unified, for the tragic event, bad as it was, at least for a while, we were all unified. So in that way, I think we can get back to trusting each other, or behaving better to each other quicker than we can fix both the government and media. And I really think that's going to be the roots of those two other institutions anyways, is each other, people, neighbors. And it's why I feel like a channel like this and other channels like this, where there are just guys in the truck talking, will be a wave. People are going to, again, want to seek out people who are genuine, and they're going to find channels like this one. This is my belief, my hope, and the reason I do this channel, because they're going to want just normal, neutral, sane, rational voices, which you might not agree with that characterization of myself, but that's how I feel I am. And it's the channels that I seek out. I'm looking for. There are some bombastic ones I listen to, and they're entertaining. But what ends up happening is I listen to those for a few weeks, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with all the yelling, and I'm done with all the bombacity, and I just kind of want to listen to somebody speak in a rational, even tone about the things that interest me. So I feel as people start mistrusting, anyways, my hope is the mistrust will get so big that it'll spring back to, okay, well, where can I find reasonable voices and reasonable discussions? And they're going to go to independent YouTube channels like this one and other outlets. I understand that YouTube, Google, and Facebook are all getting looked at for antitrust violations, which I'm down for. As much as I like my own channel, I'd be curious to see some alternative content providers pop up to give YouTube a challenge. Anyways, I feel like this is going to be the next medium. And I would encourage you, not just my channel, but other channels, find other ones like this with same, just reasonable people talking about news that doesn't get reported widely. I think you'll find that the world is a much more interesting place when you don't let the mainstream 6 corporations feed you information, and instead you go out and research it and seek it out yourself. I'm trying to do this with my son, teaching him how to research, teach him how to find his own information, and don't expect to get spoon-fed from Wikipedia, or even his thing as he starts is just to ask Google, and Google gives him an answer, and I want him to learn beyond that. And I would encourage all of you to do the same. Anyways, that's my thought for today. I'll put a link to that article in the Pew Research article about mistrust. You can read it yourself and see what part of that interests you. And then again, if you like this video and want to hear more news like this, please give me a like and subscribe. Cheers.